and welcome to the Philippines. Today I thought I'd invite you to take a ride with me. So let's walk on out here to the motorcycle and take a look around. This is a compound where I live. They call them compounds here because, as you can see, it's fully enclosed. Kind of security issue. However, people around here are pretty good folks. I've got a couple motorcycles. One, as you can see, is a little Honda 155. They're commonly used to power tricycles, which on this video you're going to see a lot of, and I'm going to explain the differences between about 3 different types that you'll see. This one over here, I was kind of quasi-gifted. It used to belong to another expat that's no longer here in the Philippines, and it had been sitting in a shed for quite some time. So I kind of rescued it, got all the rust off of it, did some repainting on it. This is a Kawasaki Rouser 200, known in the rest of the world as a Pulsar RS 200. They're made in India, but here they're branded by Kawasaki, and I call it a baby Ninja because it looks a lot like a Ninja, rides a lot like a Ninja, but it's 200 cc's. We're just riding out the driveway here. We've got to run down and let myself out of the gate, which is exactly what we're going to stop and do here. You can see the doors open. Like I said, security is not a huge concern. This little road is sand at this point, but it's going to turn into concrete pretty fast. The water puddle that you're seeing doesn't exist anymore. In the last few days, they've come and filled it in with gravel and dirt. Now, behind me, the road dead ends right into the ocean. I mean, if you turn around and drive, you'll wind up in the Pacific Ocean. Going straight ahead on this concrete road, we're going to wind up down at a main highway. The main highway runs between Pandan and Libertad. Now, I live in a barangay/neighborhood called Hinalinan. We are building a home, but that's in a different neighborhood or barangay called Janela. We're going to come up here, we're going to hang a right, and we're going to head into town. Now, the collection of neighborhoods here is called Pandan, and that would be the town that we live in. So if you got an address, you're going to put in both your neighborhood, you're going to put in the town, and then you're going to put in the province, which here is Antique. So let's jump out on the road here and head toward town. This road is actually going to take us to the main loop that goes all the way around the island. That main loop is called 502. If you're on Google's map, they'll also call it PC Barracks Road. Where the name come from, I have no idea. Something I like to point out, up here on the right, we're going to see a gas station. They're called MG Petro. They're entirely staffed by females. I guess they figured since a majority of drivers were guys that they would put females in there, and they call them pump girls, to get guys to come to the station. My wife immediately called me out on going here when we first got our car. And I immediately pointed out that they're actually the cheapest gas around. And after we drove around to a few gas stations, and she saw that every place else was at least 2 or 3 pesos a liter more, she decided that going to see the pump girls was probably okay. So we're headed on in. That was a school to the right. We are going to see a basketball court up here on the right. Something I'd like to mention is that every barangay that I know of has a basketball court. That's it right there. Oh, right there. And they're mostly covered. Basketball is a huge thing here. One of the first things I noticed when I came here several years ago, I was living in Oklahoma City, and I walked into a mall, and lo and behold, the entire wall of the mall was covered with a huge picture of Kevin Durant from the, at that time, Oklahoma City Thunder. So now we're on PC Barracks Road heading into town. Now, even in downtown Pandan, there's still these barangays or neighborhoods. And the one that we're going to be in primarily, at least at first, is called Centro Norte. So that's kind of the business district of the town. Here on the right are a few restaurants. They're all pretty good. I've eaten, I think, at 2 out of the 3 of those. Just haven't got to the 3rd one yet. Don't have anything against it. So this is the business district. Now, you'll see all of these tricycles. Now, the ones that you're seeing here are the commercial type. They're designed to carry up to 6 people. I know you're going to laugh when I say 6 people, but I've seen as many as 15 on one of these. So we're going to head back out of the main business district, and we're going to make a little side trip. The little business there on the right with the red doors is a vulcanizing shop. So if you have flat tire, something like that, you go there on your motorcycle or your car, they'll pull the tire or wheel off, and they put a good old-fashioned patch on the inside. Don't see a lot of plugs here. Now, that tricycle that we just went by is more of a private tricycle. It's just made to carry really 2 people inside. The bus that you're seeing, that runs in between here in Kalibo and I believe Libertad. And it's just like a little bus loop. It just continuously makes that loop between the 3 towns. Kalibo is a town about an hour from here, and it has a lot of shopping. It has a couple small scale malls. There's another one of those private type tricycles. Now up here is something that wasn't here the first time I came. It wasn't even here 3 years ago. They call this the boardwalk. And I think this is absolutely great. They've built this road right along the beach. I've been here through one typhoon, no damage at all, which is great. The local government built another pier closer to my house, and somehow a lot of it collapsed. Not sure what happened there. I don't know the backstory on it, but it is still great to go there and fish. The part that collapsed, oddly enough, is part on the land, not the part that goes out over the water or the ocean. So maybe one of these days I can do a video and figure out what happened. So this is called the Boardwalk. It's quite the gathering place at about 5 p.m. and into the early evening. Over on the right, there are several little shops, mostly either Ceres stores, which is like a form of a convenience store here where you can get a snack, soda, something like that. And there's also some restaurants over there. We're going to head back into Central Norte. You see here, the people are really friendly. They had no problem just, hey, waving away at me. Now, the Philippines, #1 place in the world for people that like to take pictures of themselves and others. Selfie capital of the world by far. Everybody here likes to be on camera one way or the other. Makes me kind of wonder if the Philippines isn't the most documented place on Earth, just because of that. Now, this is the road we came in on where we passed the bus. For a minute, I thought that other girl was going to get on that motorcycle. You'll see 3 up quite often. You'll also see entire families. Hey, the building on the left here is a private hospital. There's also a public hospital. This one's a private hospital. It was owned by a physician, and I believe that his wife was a nurse, and they had their own hospital here in town. These are just various businesses. Now, you're going to notice that a lot of them are closed. That's because I'm filming this on a Sunday, and a lot of people don't open on Sunday. The other things that you're going to see is there's still parking. If this were a weekday, Monday through Friday, there would be no available parking, at least not to this extent. You might find a spot for a motorcycle or a tricycle, but it certainly wouldn't be open like this. So up here at the end of the block on the right is actually a 7-Eleven. Most 7-Elevens here, you can kind of see it up there if you look at the top of the screen, the sign for 7-Eleven. Don't pump gas. Don't know why, and oddly enough, most gas stations don't have a convenience store. They're 2 totally separate things, so it's not like in other parts of the world where you can just stop and fill up with gas and walk in and get something to eat or drink. Just not a thing here. Don't know why. Well, we made a quick side trip there that I took out. I wanted to stop and see if a store had some Pepsi or Coke. They didn't. Right now, there's a huge sugar shortage going on in the Philippines that is actually severe enough that has caused a couple of the Pepsi and Coke facilities to completely shut down and stop manufacturing. They just don't have the sugar to do it. They are trying to spread it around as much as they can, but the availability is low. You can walk into a lot of restaurants, and if you order a soft drink, they just tell you out of stock. Or they give you a choice of other soft drinks that aren't quite as popular that may have had a backlog. Another gas station there on the right. Where we're headed to here down the road is our terminal. I wanted to show that to you. Another little shopping center that's fairly new. But we're going to swing off to the right here. I'll show you the terminal. There's that bus we saw earlier. He ran around town, probably dropped some people off, but now he's going to sit there. Oh, got a little water on the camera, it looks like. The van, those are tourist vans. They're limited to about 10 to 15 passengers. Understand I say 10 to 15 passengers, but people here in the Philippines overall are much smaller. That greenish yellow bus, lime green, I don't know what to call that color, almost like a tennis ball color. They also come in blue, and those are called Ceres buses. Ceres is the name of the company, and they span the entire Philippines. You can even go island to island on a bus. They drive the bus right onto a ferry, and you stay right in your seat while the ferry goes to the next island. So you can go literally anywhere in the Philippines on a Ceres bus. It is very inexpensive, and there's two different versions of them. And one is a little bit cheaper than the other. One of them does not have air conditioning or any other amenities, where the large bluer buses and some of the larger green buses, they do have air conditioning, and they also usually play movies of some kind on screens throughout the bus. Building right there on the right is the City Hall, and this is called the People's Park over here to the right. And this is absolutely gorgeous at Christmas time. Speaking of Christmas time, it's September here, and in September, it starts Christmas. When I was in the United States, we used to really complain if they put out the Christmas decorations before Thanksgiving. And then when that became common, we started complaining, if they did it right after Halloween. But here, they refer to Christmas as the Burr months. Burr meaning any month that ends in Burr: September, October, November, December. Hence the Burr months. They usually leave those decorations up, Christmas decorations up, and you're not sure on the date. It's either January 7th or January 14th. It coincides with a holiday called King's Day. Now, you'll probably also notice with my driving here, I'll pass on the right or on the left. I prefer to pass on the right if I can, just because I don't have to go into oncoming traffic. The lines here mean absolutely nothing. I see it's a double yellow line with a white in the middle. It's supposed to mean don't pass. If you count on that, you'll wind up dead here in the Philippines, because people do go over and they will cross into oncoming traffic, even if there's someone just standing on the side of the road. I don't know why, but they like to give people a lot of room. And you think, well, man, aren't you going to get a lot of tickets? No. I've been here right at a year now, and I personally have never seen anyone pulled over for a moving violation. Now, you will see checkpoints from time to time, and generally they're looking for very specific things. Like they'll set up a checkpoint to check and see if motorcyclists are wearing helmets. Now, you'll notice the tricycle in front of me, it's a commercial tricycle. He's not wearing a helmet because they don't classify that the same as a motorcycle, so the helmet's not required. But you should wear one. Right here on this stretch of road we're driving on right now, a young lady was hit by one of those vans, and if you see those vans, be careful, because they don't stop or slow down for anything or anybody, with the exception of picking up another customer or dropping one off. They use their horn, and that horn is to convey the message of we're coming through and we're not stopping. And sometimes it's also used as a courtesy to let you know that they're there, especially if the traffic is heavy and they expect you to move over and get out of their way so they can proceed. But as you can see, it's very green, very lush here. It's like this year-round. Hey, there's that basketball court again. But it's tropical. It rains. There is no season for like gardening. If you want something, just plant it and it'll pop up, and eventually you'll get to eat it. Crops, rice. They get 3 crops a year. They do have a rainy season here where I live, and the rainy season actually causes some trouble at times. But I have a rice farm, and we generally get 3/2.5 crops a year, and that's because the tenant farmer I have sometimes on that third season does not plant half the crop, because we rely on water coming down a small river or stream in the mountains. My rice farm is in the mountains, and it flows year round, but part of the year it doesn't flow quite as hard, so he only plants half the rice during one season. We're going to head back down the road to my house here, and right here to the right, that's where the mayor in town lives. He just got elected. Political season is very fascinating here. And first bit of advice, if you're going to move here and you're not a Filipino, don't get involved in politics. A, your opinion is wholly unwelcome. And two, you don't have the background knowledge to understand their political system and what they've been through. So best just to stay out of it. Worry about your own business, not somebody else's. That'll serve you well in life no matter where you are. There's my car. We're going to go back to the gate. Got to get in that gate again. So here we go. Going to go put the motorcycle back under the overhead shed. I want to say shed. It's not really a shed. It's just a parking structure underneath an apartment that's above. And there's also a large deck up there that you can sit and look out at the ocean. Here when we're on the motorcycle, to your left is the ocean. That's all ocean. On the other side of that fence is the Pacific Ocean. But we're going to put the motorcycle back in the shed. We're going to park it with the other motorcycle. And of course, that's where my two sons have decided that their bicycles should be. They've decided that their bicycles should be right next to Dad's motorcycle. Well, hey, I appreciate you going for a ride with me. Check back and I'll have some more opinions, facts, cool stuff to share. See you later.